Sorry about that. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Verse Crypto channel. We have another awesome live stream today. Today, we're going to talk about all things pDAI, get a little bit into what's going on with the Pulsechain ecosystem, and we're going to talk about a special Pulsechain altcoin gem. The name of that token is Texan Token. There's a lot we need to talk about today, and I have a special guest. This man has been a Pulsechain Hex OG. He's a big name in the cryptocurrency space, especially in the Pulsechain ecosystem. As most of you guys know, I'm kind of controversial, but he's one of the most well-respected men. And he's also coming from the great country of Texas. I want to welcome to the show my boy, Rax Ridges. What's up, man? How you doing today?
Dude, what's up, man? How's life, dude?
Very good, man. You know, just same old, same old. Still at the beach, still surfing, all that good stuff. How's everything down in Texas, man?
Well, so Matt's in Texas, so he's the co-founder, one of the founder. I'm the co-founder. I live in Virginia, actually, East Coast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Okay. Yeah, cool. Yeah, man. I actually, believe it or not, I'm actually from Virginia, so
Oh,
that's
really?
actually a small world, dude. So
Oh, that's neat. We'll talk offline here. Cool.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, cool, man. Well, just getting in, I want to talk a little bit about, what's going on with, the Pulsechain ecosystem, what's going on with the Atropa, pDAI and whatnot. But to kind of start off, we want to know your little background behind how you started in cryptocurrency and what first got you involved.
Yeah, so I went to the Navy. I got out of the Navy. I got a job as actually, I was a meteorologist in the Navy. I got a job in meteorology when I got out. And then I worked for a government contractor. We lost the government contract. So then I got into IT and had some background there. And then I got into sales. So getting into sales, you start to learn a lot about yourself, your weaknesses, your strengths, this and that. And the cool thing about if you want to make money and you don't have a college degree, you'd want to get into sales and learn a lot about it because you make money. And when I started making money, and then when I grew up and realized that there's a lot of stuff about the world that I don't know and I need to know about it, I just started learning, and it took me down the finance path, and it took me down the real estate path and the real estate investing path, and trying to put my dollars where they'll work for me. And I got into cryptocurrency. A friend was shilling Bitcoin as Bitcoin kept going up and up and up and up. And finally, I hit him up. I'm like, hey, I'll pay you for your time. So we met up at a coffee shop. He just data dumped everything that he knew about it. He was a Bitcoin miner, and set up my Coinbase account in like 2013 when there was just Bitcoin there. Then they added Ethereum, they added Litecoin, and they added everything else. But when I joined, I think it was just Bitcoin. And, I didn't really take it that seriously until probably like 2016. People started talking about it again. And I had a friend who was, he was a really, really good poker player. He's like on ESPN, this and that. And he hit me up. He's like, dude, let's get into Bitcoin. Let's get into Bitcoin. And the cool thing was, like, I said, yeah, let's get into it. And I had forgotten that I set up my account in 2013. So this was like fast forward 3 years, 2016. So I go to set up my account, and it says an account already exists with this email address, and my jaw dropped to the floor. I'm like, oh, sweet. All right. So then we log in, and yeah, there's stuff there, and I was very happy. And I did what most people do that are new to it, like between 2016 and 2018 with the huge run up. I found a way to pretty much squander most of everything. And I walked away from cryptocurrency for about 6 months after the 2017, 2018 top. And I wasn't ever going to come back, but then something just kept nagging at me to learn how to do it better. So I was fortunate in that I actually came back to crypto at the bottom. So pretty much like 2018, 2019. And then, that time frame. Dude, I was scooping up. I was telling people I was scooping up like 1 penny, 2 penny Cardano, scooping up Matic, scooping up Luna, right when it was launching. Scooping up Dogecoin, just dirt cheap, fire sale and everything. And I learned to just dollar cost average, buy and hold, and that's pretty much like after that. I did okay. I did okay in that bull market. And then I got introduced to Richard Heart via Twitter. They were targeting, they were using his content to target me. and I thought the dude was crazy. And I saw people like the chart kept going up, but I was like, he's gonna rug, he's gonna rug, he's gonna rug. And I didn't get into Hex until about 2021, while everybody was rich already, because he just came across like he says I got to come across as a scammer for people to listen to me. And finally I got in, and I had a group of about, I don't know, 200 or 300 people in the Rags to Riches Telegram community before Hex. And we talked about real estate and crypto. We talked about dollar cost averaging. We shared charts all the time, this and that. It was non-paid. It was just everybody's there hanging out, sharing knowledge. I onboarded that whole group to Hex. And, Richard announced that Pulsechain was going to launch, and Crypto Heartbeat, he hit me up. He was like, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing. You want to be a part of it? I'm like, yeah, let's build on Pulsechain. So we went through all that, and here we are, man. I mean, I've been making content. The community's been growing. I've just tried to be there, for everybody during the bear market, and just say, hey guys, don't listen to all the craziness out there. This is actually where you have the potential to get rich. If there's a chance, it's in the bear market, not in the bull market. So.
Absolutely. I remember your old videos where you had like the shades on in the back room, just started talking about Pulsechain. You did it in such a funny way, and I remember seeing one of your first videos. I was like, who the hell is this guy? Yeah. And then I started looking into all the stuff you were doing, man. It was actually extremely impressive. And to see where you started off from, your Telegram community, coming on to the Texan token, coming on to being, one of the big leaders behind the entire Pulsechain tour. So, kudos to you for doing a lot of community work, man.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, just sticking to it. That's all it is, man. I just didn't give up.
Absolutely. So kind of fast forwarding to today, what do you think is the current state of Pulsechain right now? We got a lawsuit, we got a lot of FUD going on, we got the pDAI movement, which is driving people crazy, I know. So what's your overall thoughts right now?
My overall thoughts are this. I believe that the SEC lawsuit and all that's happening is not actually going to affect Pulsechain. I don't think it is. I think that when the bull market comes for everybody else, it's going to come for us too. And that's because nobody has what we have, and nobody has this community. I hate saying that because it sounds so cliche. And everybody's like, yeah, everybody says that. This great community. No, it's different, dude. We've got 148 active streamers in the bottom of a bear market, with an extremely small community as it is. So the ratio to streamers to actual active wallets, 148, I think there's like 8,000 active wallets or something. That's strong. I'm not sure if you could say the same thing for Matic. I'm not sure if you could say the same thing for Base or Algorand or Polkadot or any of those folks. So there's just a lot of people that have rallied behind this, and they've rallied behind Richard, and they've rallied behind Pulsechain, and we're not VC funded. This is funded by primarily Hexicans, to be completely honest about it. And I think that there's tons and tons of upside to come. And we just got to weather this bear market, and we got to weather the FUD like we've always done. And we'll continue to do, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Great point. Now, I want to ask you about this one piece of FUD that really caught my interest.
Yeah.
And I think this is a really cool point. So let me do a quick screen share real quick. Now, over here we have the whale chart. It says, I'm not a big fan of this count, but I know you did respond to it, so I'll show the response. But breaking news, biggest USDC withdrawal from alleged scammer Richard Heart. I hate that word, alleged. Pulsechain today. After rumors centralized stablecoins bridge over to the chain will be freeze. And then you had an awesome response. I absolutely love it. Join the party whale chart, and it shows the Pulsechain bridge activity going from Ethereum to Pulsechain. Now, this was actually something you and I and Adam spoke about on the Vibra Finance stream. We talked about this issue about stablecoins coming from Ethereum to Pulsechain. Do you see a stablecoin threat behind USDC or USDT for the Pulsechain possibly coming into the future?
Yeah, could. Very well could. I think that the chance of that happening increases if the Department of Justice gets involved. So if we see like criminal charges of any sort, I think that you're going to see a lot of folks get frightened because they just don't want the legal liability and they don't want the SEC coming after them in any sort of way. So yeah, they could, Circle, publicly traded company. Actually, Coinbase just bought Circle or significant ownership in Circle. So they may invalidate some of those tokens that are locked up in the bridge. They very well could. So, to answer your question, dude, I don't think that there's anything off the table. In crypto, it's worse than what you can imagine, and it's better than what you can imagine in the good times and worse in the bad times. So yes, that could happen. We'll see.
Right. So my synopsis of this is, I've been really focused on the stable coins and the layer zero interoperability, which we'll get into a little bit. But in my opinion, I think USDC, well, not USDC, but I think stable coins are the lifeline or the backbone behind cryptocurrency, especially when it comes to bringing retail traders. So as of right now, we've seen, new protocols come in like liquid loans, deciding to add a stable coin to the Pulsechain. Do you think these, we'll call them third party, not the main party altcoin providers, do you think they will be able to establish enough of a market share so that Pulsechain can have stable coins and also onboard new users into the Pulsechain when adoption occurs?
Well, I think that if you look at Ethereum and you look at LUSD, you're going to see that it's been extremely stable, right? It is an algorithmic stable coin. I've actually dug into it. I've gone back and forth with the developer for LUSD. And this has been around for a very, very long time. The most important part about this is if people can trust that, then it's going to be okay. Now, I don't know. This is if you go to Liquidity, LUQTY, not DY.
Okay, TY Liquidity.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why wrong.
Should be it's LUSD on Ethereum. So see if you put in LUSD, see if you have Ethereum
This one
there.
This one
right
right
the
here.
highest. Yeah, that would be it.
Gotcha. Okay. So this one you're thinking that so this one can be bridged over to the Pulsechain, correct?
Yeah, but here's what most people don't know is that, Power City, for example, and Liquid Loans, they're forks of this. And this has a track record of working very well. The way it works is you're going to deposit on Ethereum. You deposit your Ethereum in the contract. It issues you stable coins. And then there's mechanisms that are built into the protocol that stabilize price at $1 right above or right below, as you can see here. And we're talking about, tenths or hundredths of a percent of change here. So it's probably the most promising, I guess, hybrid collateralized algorithmic stablecoin out there. And that's going to be present on our chain via liquid loans and also via the Earn protocol with Power City, because they're going to use actually PulseX as collateral instead of Pulsechain as collateral. Liquid Loans uses Pulsechain. So I think that we'll have enough of a backbone, and not to mention even Coast. Okay, so those guys have their stable coin as well. I think that we'll have enough to be able to make sure that financial energy trades back and forth, and I think people will trust that it's okay. Yeah, I do.
Okay. No, that's actually an interesting synopsis. And kind of building off of what we spoke about with Circle in USDC. So I do agree with you. In my opinion, I do think they're going to try to shut off the stable coins at the bridge. Mm-hmm. I think the main reason why it ties into what you said earlier, VC money. Yeah. VC money, excuse me. With the VC funding behind Ethereum, there's ties to China, and same with like Binance Smart Chain and whatnot. Pulsechain doesn't have that type of funding into this project. And so, in my opinion, Pulsechain is basically free of VC funding, and it's actually a community-run project. I went through and did a little research behind Layer Zero because they're going to be working with USDC to bring interoperability to the stablecoin, and they've been doing partnerships with Phantom, Tomb Finance, Binance Smart Chain, Avalanche, any blockchain. And there's a whole list of them, and the only one they did not pick is Pulsechain.
Uh-huh.
Rags, in your opinion, what do you think? What do you think is Layer Zero is doing, and do you think this is going to be a hit to the Pulsechain?
I don't think it's going to be a hit because we've never really depended on outside help for anything this entire time. And what we've seen is people that are part of the community stepping up to the plate and filling in the gaps for things that we actually need. So I think that here's the truth. Richard Heart burned tons of bridges. All right, he burned tons of bridges. Now, why he burned bridges is up for debate. Did he burn bridges for marketing? Did he burn bridges just to do it because he's prideful? Like, whatever. It doesn't matter the reason, but it just the result is there. So we're not going to have many people that are bending over backwards to come and help Pulsechain out for that reason. And let's be honest here. It's all about who you know in this industry, man. When you get to these higher levels, like you get these deals because you know this guy who knows that guy, and you were at dinner with both of them, whatever. And Richard hasn't really played ball. He's kind of been the black sheep in a way, but he's been highly successful. So I don't think that it's going to matter. I think that what you're going to continue to see, and what I encourage folks to do, is continue to build out our own world. Don't ask for help. Bootstrap it, build it. It eventually, I'll tell this story. One time I asked this really famous producer, because I like to produce music, and I might have told you the story, but I said, what's the secret to getting noticed? Do I got to reach out or shoot emails, this and that? He's like, there's one secret. It's just make good music. So all we have to do is make a good blockchain, and then that's going to bring people in, and we don't have to beg people to come play ball. And I think that what we're doing now is just fine. And I don't think anybody's going to be messing with Pulsechain until we get some clarity with the SEC and the legal matters otherwise.
Absolutely. I agree with that. And just in my opinion, I see Pulsechain as kind of like a FU to the established blockchains and DeFi. And that's what really, really attracted me to Pulsechain as a whole. And in my opinion, what I really think is going to make this project a game changer is the community and development. There's a lot of development on the Pulsechain. There's a lot of people bringing great ideas. People don't like meme coins. Meme coins drive interest. We have meme coins all over Pulsechain, and people are excited. In my opinion, we're going through a little bit of a PRC20 token bull run. Well, not bull run, but like a mini one. Mm-hmm. There's excitement. There's trading. People are coming through the bridge. They're bridging their assets over. And this is part of the reason why I love the Pulsechain so much. And it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. Mm-hmm. Now, moving on to another question I wanted to ask and get your opinion on something. So I came across something very interesting. Phantom is talking about exploring adding optimistic rollups to connect to Ethereum. You might be asking yourself, what does that have to do with Pulsechain? Now, one thing that I was doing some research on is when layer one protocols launch, they try to add a new utility, a new benefit, something that makes them different from the rest of other blockchains. Pulsechain is pretty obvious. You guys can go on YouTube and type in what is Pulsechain. You can get a full, good, in detail video about it. Now, Phantom's been out for a minute, and they've been trying to attract developers. They've been trying to attract development, and it turns out it wasn't working. So they actually decided to try this new approach of going from a layer one to a layer two scaling solution. And from my research, there's other layer one blockchains that are doing this. And what I think is going to happen in this next bull market is we're going to see the great conversion where we have layer ones converting to layer twos. Rags, in your opinion, with all this happening with Phantom, which is a DAG blockchain considered to have, better, how should I say, I would say like the transaction fee, the consensus mechanisms are considered to be better. Do you think in the future, Pulsechain could potentially convert from a layer one to a layer two scaling solution to keep up with the rest of the other blockchains?
I'm not familiar enough with the optimistic rollups tech to understand. I do know that they're launching on Ethereum to turn it into a layer two on Ethereum, but I'm not familiar. I don't know if Pulsechain can actually be turned into a layer two solution for a different blockchain. So if it's possible, then somebody will do it. I'll just say that right now. because that's just the nature of the growth period that we're in. But I can't answer that as intellectually as I would like.
Okay, no, I completely understand, man.
Yeah.
And this is like the big test with Phantom. Basically, with the layer 2 scaling solution,
Mhm.
you send a transaction from the layer 2 and it goes through the Ethereum blockchain, and they just do a bundle of them. Now, this is very similar to what we see with the Ethereum going from proof of work to proof of stake. It's never happened before. It's the same thing with Phantom. And what's happening is blockchains like Telos and other ones are sitting there looking at what's going on with Phantom, and they're saying, hey, if this works out, our blockchain is not working, is not growing that much. Maybe this will be the future when it comes to development and keeping us relevant.
So are they turning their blockchain into the transaction layer for the primary blockchain?
Correct.
Okay, so that's making so if they connect it to Pulsechain, then that would mean that the transactions, the GUI and everything would probably be much less because that's shared over two chains rather than one.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. And that's the way that they're trying to get around the issues with Ethereum scaling right now. That's why they're making all these layer 2s. Doesn't really solve the actual issue. But I guess it's at least a band-aid, and it's a step in the right direction if we want continued use on these chains. So that's what I do understand about the scaling issues in layer 2s.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And it's one of those things that it'll probably become more relevant as we get closer to the great transition for Phantom. And then also on top of that, we're seeing something similar happen with Zcash, where they're actually going from proof of work to a proof of stake and maybe a layer 2. So it's just one of these trends that I like to research. But we definitely talk about later on in the future. Now, before I get into like pDAI and Atropa, because we talked a lot about it last time and a lot of stuff came out, so I want to get your thoughts on some stuff. One person had a question about LUSD on Pulsechain. Hold on, let me go to the correct question. Rags, Tank Will wanted to know: have you looked at the copy of LUSD on Pulsechain at all?
Yeah, I have. When Pulsechain first launched, I basically got a list of the top 20 or 30 protocols on Ethereum, and I put money into all of them. And I told a lot of my folks to do it. I said, guys, you don't know what the future is going to look like. Here it is. So I think LUSD was in that top 30. I've looked at it, but here's the thing: it's just a meme coin, guys. It's just a meme coin at this point, unless you have some type of mechanism like Atropa that starts participating with LUSD. That's all it is right now. Now, if the Liquidity team wants to come over from Ethereum with their admin keys, access the contract, create a front end, and do all that, then it becomes more than just that. But for now, that it's just a meme coin.
I agree. It's interesting to see how the software is working right now. It seems like it's maintaining some sort of stability line. But I've been trying to research that, but it's great to have you on live stream because you definitely just explained the entire protocol, which was awesome. And this has actually been my number one question on the past 4 live streams. What's going on with LUSD? And I told people, if you jump into that, like you said, it's a meme coin, but there's no guarantee to, basically bring it back to life, because I think there's an issue with the inflation bug, and I don't know too much, so I don't want to get too much into it. So
yeah, here's the issue. Like if we brought over the system state, and it's like what is this? Yeah, 99 to $1, which is very interesting. How much liquidity do we have in here? Is this actual USD 231,000? I don't know. So here's the problem. When you took over that system state, it also took over all the collateral that was actually basically maintaining the peg. Okay, so people deposited, and then you got this stable coin out, but then there's certain mechanisms that are built into liquidity and liquid loans and all that basically keep price where it's supposed to be. None of that collateral in the contract has any value right now. So it's just like I don't know how they would make it operate. I'm not saying it can't, but I see nothing to indicate that that's the case. I'd have to look really, really deep into this, but let's actually check the contract address. I'm curious here now. We'll go to Etherscan.
Yeah, if you want to share your screen, I can pop it up here.
All right. All right, so what we're going to do here, can you see this tab? So what we're going to do, we're going to go to LUSD, USDC. We're going to go to USDC contract. Can you guys see this right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Go to USDC contract, go to Etherscan. I'll share this tab. And then Control V, paste it in there. And circle deployer. Is this actual USDC? Yeah, this is the copied. Okay, so this is the copied. This is the copied USDC, the forked USDC. So this isn't actually the USDC that has been bridged from Ethereum. So both of these are just speculation. I guess people are buying with these liquid USDC right now, and they're trading fake USDC for fake LUSD or the PRC20 versions. So,
okay, I got you.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, interesting. Well, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I mean, some people are playing DJing games, but like I said, we got a bunch of PRC20 tokens, so it's just part of the Pulsechain development. Now,
Yeah.
I want to get into some pDAI and Atropa.
Uh-huh.
It's probably the hottest thing to talk about right now because everyone's just so interested. Now, last time we spoke, we jumped in, talked about the story. I broke it down to you on Adam's stream, and you had a lot of opinions about it. You brought up a lot of great points, but something big changed since last time we spoke.
Okay.
And I think we spoke down here when Atropa had an initial run up. And basically, if I come over here, there's a huge announcement that the Atropa contract was renounced. And if you guys want, you can come over here and copy the Atropa contract and then come over here to verify pulse.com, type it in, and it'll tell you right here, ownership renounced, our code does not contain owner. Rags, in your opinion, because the Atropa contract was renounced, what do you think this means for pDAI and the entire Atropa ecosystem?
Well, it makes people feel a little bit better now. It's certain when I saw that, when we talked, I said that was one of the things that I would like to see happen for me to feel a little bit more comfortable with everything. And that happened. So I think that probably it certainly helps the narrative and the talking points that are flying out there about what this could be. So I think that's what it accomplished. I think there's more trust in the system right now.
Absolutely. And, I do agree with you because there was an inflation bug and Dibcatcher really got into it and said, hey, this thing can mint tokens. And now we had the Atropa token renounced, we have the Down token renounced, and then we have the tsfi token renounced, which are the 4 main tokens directly tied to pDAI. In your opinion, do you think pDAI could potentially be a legitimate token in the future?
So if we go, let's just talk about this logically. And I talked to, who's it? Sonny, right? I talked to Sonny on Twitter Spaces for about 45 minutes. And I said, all right, Sonny, let's just talk about this pDAI. If you go to pDAI and you see the sheer amount of pDAI that is being held by people, for it to go to $1 and then for it to be able to hold $1, it would take a tremendous amount of financial energy to do that. Even if there were a separate contract that came in to be able to maintain that peg, there has to be some type of reserve or some type of asset to be able to shore that up if there's a run on banks. And Sonny and I pretty much agreed that, hey, that the pegging. Okay, so the pegging, I guess, is when it gets there, and then pegging is for it to stay there. I don't think it's going to do that. I don't know how it would do that. Not to say that it can't happen because crypto is crazy, and I've stopped making surefire calls on things because I've been surprised so much. And I keep an open mind about things, but in terms of what it could be in the future, it doesn't have to peg at $1. It can actually be less than that. It can be 50 cents of $1. It can just have some type of stability there. But still, in order for that whole narrative to kind of take shape, we're going to have to see additional development in that we've got to be able to see some other mechanisms that are going to come in, smart contracts to help that along.
Absolutely. No, great points. And the thing I'm mostly concerned about when it comes to pDAI or the pegging, whatever you want to call it, when this thing gets up to a penny or maybe even 10 or let's say 50 cents, a lot of people are going to sell and the price instability is going to be insane. And to see how this thing stabilizes and the amount of technology that's going to be behind it to maintain it, because when I've been doing research on this, I've been obsessed with it because just seeing how this thing maintains value, how the liquidity pools are extremely liquid and extremely close to the market cap percentage, it absolutely blows my mind. I've never seen anything like that. Some people think there's some sort of advanced AI trading bot. Some people think it's a bunch of people just working on it all together, which I don't agree with. But ultimately, what we're starting to see, what we're seeing with the whole pDAI narrative is something we have never seen before. And it's crazy that it's on the Pulsechain. And the amount of eyes that are coming over and looking at the Pulsechain is a lot. In your opinion, Rags, do you think this pDAI narrative is bringing more eyes to the Pulsechain ecosystem?
Oh, without a doubt, 100%. I mean, think about where do all the degens go? They go to these coin ranking websites and these trading websites and these trading coin ranking websites, Deck Screener and whatever the other big ones are. I can't think off the top of my head, but when something pumps, it shows up on the ranking lists, and these people want a piece of that pie, so they come and figure it out. I've seen on Twitter people that don't know anything about Pulsechain sharing screenshots of like the top 10 for that day, and like 3 of the top 10 were either DAI, Atropa, Teddy Bear, whatever, and people if they're going to find a way to make money. And if you don't believe me, anybody here in chat, just think about a time in the past when you saw something pumping on a chain way out in the distance. You found a freaking wagon and you got there real quick, didn't you? You figured it out. So, yeah, that's the motivation to make money. So, yes, unequivocally, absolutely, that it's bringing more eyes to Pulsechain. Yes.
Awesome. Great point. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit more about the bear meme coin. I want to know your opinions about this because, believe it or not, I wasn't into all the crazy ecosystem tokens. We had bear. Wait, hold on. Let me show this. Let's see if this will pop up. Stop screen share. Sorry, I'm just getting used to this.
Dude, you're good, man.
Yeah. So I remember looking at some of these tokens. We had Atropa tsfi, and then we get to what I call the outer rim, like in Star Wars. I'm just like, I don't know if I want to go touch this plant, so otherwise the Empire is going to attack me. Now, now we got this one right here, Teddy Bear, B Roots. All these people are pumping it up, and this thing's going to the moon. I don't know if you've seen it. You've probably seen it. Yeah. And so apparently the token supply is the same as Shiba Inu. People are propping up. I see teddy bear memes all across the x.com or Twitter. In your opinion, do you see teddy bear being a prime meme coin similar to a Pepe and Shiba Inu run up?
Do I see it happening? Yes, it could happen. Yes, it could happen. I think that whenever, just to be very straightforward, I think that B Roots is, I think he's an extremely intelligent guy. I like the guy quite a bit, but I also understand his game, and I'm not sold on listening to what he has to say all the time, based on history. However, he also knows probably meme coins much better than I do, to be quite honest. But here's the key. The fact that you have a major influencer with the following that he has talking about this thing, and then you've got so many other people that are on board, that's wildfire. If you look at the buys and sells from these bots, man, it's actually, it's a whole lot less money that was used to get this thing rolling than I thought before the community picked it up and just started degenning into it. So it was very interesting for me to kind of research that and look at that. So could it be this? Yes, it could be this. And especially here's the big force multiplier. We're in a bear market, dude. You know, you get in the bull market and this goes completely nuclear. All of this stuff does, as long as it hasn't been rugged. It's going to go nuclear. So yes, it could be something like that. Teddy bear also, a lot of people are making connections to Richard's stream where he, the teddy bear in the background and all that. And the duck is supposed to come next because the teddy bear was doing unspeakable things to the duck on stream one day. So,
oh man, that's so funny.
So if you see duck, you know it's me, guys. All right. It's me.
Oh man, yeah. I remember seeing that tweet, and I had the same suspicions as you when I saw it. And meme coins are meme coins, man. It's just like crypto casino. And at the end of the day, it's fun. People like it, but also you gotta be extremely cautious. So now moving on to the next thing, a very interesting piece of news, and actually people want to hear my theory behind this, but we saw Atropa, pDAI, and the Bear token go multi-chain onto the Ethereum blockchain. I put out a tweet about that. You actually had an interesting response to the tweet. Now, with your response to the tweet, actually, let me see if I can. Actually, no, we don't have to pull it up. It's really small. Yeah. But regardless, I have a theory that something's going on with Atropa going over to the Ethereum blockchain. You have a theory about PRC20 tokens going onto Ethereum blockchain. Do you want to share with us your theory of what's going to happen in the future?
Dude, so the first thing that I thought about was if we're taking some of these PRC20s that actually have value now, and then we're pushing them over to Ethereum, and then we're pairing them with Ethereum or some type of asset that we expect to run really, really hard in the future, what's going to happen is these bridged assets over to Ethereum, so these Pulsechain, wrapped Pulsechain copies or whatever you want to call it, they are actually going to be pulled up by the market at large on the Ethereum side as well, especially if they're paired with any type of significant liquidity in Ethereum or I'm trying to think of another one, even I'm not going to say meme coins. We'll just stick to Ethereum. So what does that mean? That means that when it's pumping, it's going to create arbitrage opportunities, and it's actually, you're going to see people filling in that gap. So it pumps on the Ethereum side, the Pulsechain side's still down here. So what you see is the Ethereum side sell off, bridge back over, and then you're buying up the Pulsechain side, and then that gets too overbought, and then it sells off. So it just kind of brings it up until that margin evaporates, and then there's some sort of parity there. Now that's the pipe dream, but theoretically that could happen. And then there's, and then let's just take it a step further. I'm seeing some projects now trying to mimic what Atropa is doing, where they're going to take their primary token because they have a lot of liquidity in that token, and then they're going to spin up another project, mint as much as supply as they want, and then they're going to pair the two together, and it's like fractionalized banking, fractional reserve banking. And you could do the exact same thing, ladies and gentlemen, on the Ethereum side. So you could have a multi-chain ecosystem. And so that was kind of what was boiling up in my head there. What are your thoughts?
Okay. No, very cool theory. So here's something I've been noticing. Atropa and the pDAI LP pair has been burning like crazy. That's how we bring pDAI to peg. Now, this past couple of weeks, we've seen over 234 different pairings between Atropa and PRC20 tokens. The amount of Atropa that we saw bridged over to the Ethereum blockchain is right around, I think it's 234 million. Now, something just clicked in my brain when I saw that, and you guys can go check the Dex screener on this. But what I'm thinking is there's a potentiality where there's going to be some sort of correlation between Atropa, Ethereum into a liquidity pool. And the idea is by tying up that Ethereum token with the Atropa token, it's going to basically make it so that Atropa follows the price of Ethereum, so that all these PRC20 tokens will have similar price movements as to the Ethereum token. Because keep in mind, Ethereum's like the tide to all ERC20 tokens. If the tide rises, all the ships go up. If it falls, all the ships go down. And so we're not going to see an exact price correlation, but I think with Atropa being the main coin to back pDAI, I also think it's going to be this main coin to bring PRC20 tokens extremely close to parity. As for whether or not this come to fruition, it's a little bit of a stretch, and there's some obstacles we got to get past. But overall, that's why I think that's the play that's going on. Rags, what's your thoughts?
I think you and I were pretty much spot on with what we thought. You know, they're gonna bridge Atropa over, or bridge whatever. They're gonna pair it with Ethereum because it's gonna pull Atropa up. And then, you know, I didn't even add in the other part, which is Pulsechain is paired with Ethereum, and Pulsechain will be pumping as well. So you're gonna have a token that's being pulled up by Pulsechain on the native blockchain. You're gonna have a token that's gonna be pulled up by Ethereum. And then you're going to have arbitrage opportunities on both ends, but both of those pairings are going to be pumping simultaneously with Atropa potentially. So you could have some really, really cool stuff. I feel like I'm on Ancient Aliens right now, and I'm just like, yeah, he's speculating right now. Yeah, he jumped on his floor mat, and that's because they're ancient Mayan civilization that had a Stargate in his basement. Like, that's how I feel right now. So yeah, I mean, is it a crazy leap of logic to think that won't happen? Well, they've already bridged it over. How much more are they going to bridge over? And then who's going to actually create the first pairing? You know, if that's the case. So there could be some stuff like that happening. It's just so neat to see it kind of materializing in front of our eyes. And I'm just like, I'm white knuckled. I'm like, please don't rug, please don't rug, please don't rug, because it's so cool to watch. Even if it does rug, I think there's a lot of lessons that are being learned. And I know there are, because I see people kind of trying to mimic what's happening with Atropa and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do agree with you, because in the fact that with the rug sentiment, because we're seeing more tokens get renounced, but also we're seeing more tokens getting created. The Atropa concept, absolutely fascinating. If you're a researcher, love looking at that stuff, or you just love cryptocurrency, it's a really cool test case scenario that could be a future innovative technology used for something good on another blockchain. But also, we got tokens launching left and right, and after a while, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And one thing I saw was the Atropa wallet, the 414 wallet, that's the key name to it, had a bunch of teddy bear tokens. And as teddy bear went up, it sold very, very small micro amounts, took that, bought up the pDAI token, paired up with the Atropa, and kept burning it. So what I'm seeing right now with these tokens is I feel like the 414 wallet has a huge bag of them, seeing what clicks and using that as a way to pull value back in and burn more pDAI token. Rags, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so here's some basic math that I was running. It was this. It's that, okay, you've got this. So let's say I need to think about how to put this to make sure it makes sense. All right, so let's say we got Atropa, and then we create teddy bear. Okay, so then we pair them together. No, I'm sorry, Atropa and PLS. Okay, and let's say that when you look at the liquidity on Deck Screener, it'll say $300,000, but it's actually about $150K worth of PLS that's backing that. All right, that's what creates the price. So then somebody takes supply of Atropa that they have, and they create teddy bear. And once you create teddy bear, then now teddy bear has a price, and then you can create teddy bear, or take teddy bear and create something completely different. So what's happening is people are seeing that teddy bear is pumping. The primary pairing of teddy bear is not in Pulse. It's actually downstream, at least to liquidity pools. So you're seeing people take real value, Pulse, and you're seeing them throw it to teddy bear, which is not necessarily directly backed by any Pulse. So people are giving real Pulse, they're getting teddy bear in return, and it's pumping, but it's fractionalized. It's a fractionalized reserve here. So my worry is that when push comes to shove, and if it were to rug, there's going to be a lot of people that are stuck with Teddy Bear or any of these. I wouldn't necessarily say pDAI per se, but some of these downstream tokens. I think that's why, in my opinion, that they're creating so many tokens, because they have to play the volume game to. I use the word harvest in front of Sonny, and he freaked out on me like it was the worst word in the world. And I'm like, well, dude, call it whatever you want, semantics, but that's just what it seems like. It's harvesting pulse in a way too. And if people aren't there to take their real bridged in value from Ethereum and buy these assets, if you have a downturn in money that's coming across the bridge, you're also going to have a downturn in the Atropa ecosystem, I think, unless there's another bridge that we don't know about, and there's other value out there that we don't know about that can bring all those tokens back up. So really, it's giving real bridged in value to this fractionalized stuff, and that's one of the concerns that I have. I honestly don't know enough about the mechanism, because there is some stuff that I just am unable to see to know whether or not that it's going to be okay in the long run.
Right. I think also, oh, did you have something? Why didn't mean to cut you off? Okay, yeah.
Nope.
I think also it comes with the murder mystery behind all this. A lot of speculation, a lot of stuff going on, and I share the same sentiment as you. Is I hope this works out in the end. And with the Atropa contract being announced, it made me feel so much more comfortable with what's going on. And in my opinion, if this were to happen, if pDAI were to be brought to peg, whatever peg is, whether it's a penny, 10 cents, or $1, this could potentially be one of the greatest stories in cryptocurrency history if this comes to fruition, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, it's probably going to be the greatest story that's never told for 50 years, because nobody wants to give Richard credit or the Pulsechain credit. But it's a crazy story. It's insane, and it will be studied in private by smart people. They just won't admit it, that it came from Richard, and they'll try to take it as their own, I'm sure.
Right. Absolutely. Good stuff. Now, want to keep it moving, but one thing I wanted to ask your opinion about, you got into PRC20 tokens. You told your Telegram group about the top ones that you want to get into. Now, I want to ask your opinion on one that I absolutely love.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get rid of the screen share. I keep doing the wrong one. Screen share. Let's do the entire window. There you go. Wrap Bitcoin on Pulsechain.
Yeah.
This one I have a huge interest in. Even the 414 wallet has some interest in, because 414 has actually been buying this token up. We got a Wrap Bitcoin supply of right around, I think it was 300,000. Rags, in your opinion, do you think the PRC20 token played Wrap BTC, not financial advice, is a play? And do you think this token could potentially get parity with the Wrap Bitcoin on the Ethereum blockchain?
Okay, so I've been super on the fence about some other ones. I say Wrap Bitcoin is probably the one that I feel most comfortable coming close to endorsing. I'm not going to endorse it because, again, this is all speculation. We don't know who's behind any of this, okay? But let's just take the facts. So actually, the wrapped BTC on Pulsechain, there is only 154,000 left. Right? Really 155,000 wrapped Bitcoin. And a lot of people don't realize that the contract ends in Charlie 599, which is a big difference than anything else that's been created out there. 154,000. Now, out of that 154,000, there's only about 1,177 Pulse Wrap Bitcoin available to even purchase right now. It's what's been put in the liquidity pools. And less than 1,200 is actually available. So here's, and I'm going to let you guys know a lot of this information. I was chopping it up with Briz. I was too lazy to research this, and I saw that he'd kind of gotten into it. So I want to give him credit for a lot of this too. But I said, Briz, tell me, give me the math here. Give me the numbers. I saw him talking about it. Another interesting thing here is, Dip Catcher, I'm not exactly sure when this was. He tweeted out in the few days between the Pulsechain fork block and when it was open to the public, 23,650 wrapped Bitcoin held in the Aave contract was transferred to an address ending in 6D. In total, 6D procured 41,000 wrapped Bitcoin from this and other DeFi contracts, which is 30% of the total wrapped Bitcoin copied, which was sent to a different address and then put in a PulseX liquidity pool with WPLS. 6D is not AMM bot, but it has inbound transactions from the AMM bot. So now that's interesting. That is more data and more evidence and more, it's easier to speculate on something that's directly connected with the wallets that are the AMM bot, man. So here's what's crazy. The amount of WPTC in this pool and the bridge WPTC Ethereum pool is surprisingly about 26,000. So here's what's interesting too. Let's keep going down this. RH approved at the beginning 3 farms that used Bitcoin from Ethereum or the wrapped Bitcoin. So this was on PulseX, folks. And that's what you see, these big pumps in the past here when everybody was speculating and freaking out when it got on there. So it's interesting, like how much maybe this is RH and maybe he has 44,000 Bitcoins on Ethereum, wrapped Bitcoin, and maybe he's bringing this over and maybe there's something to do with this. So maybe he could be behind it, but also another thing that could happen, he did rug all those pools. He took those farms off PulseX, and maybe it's just a narrative that somebody is kind of hijacking to push this thing up too. They could be 2 separate things. I want to make that clear. But in terms of pure meme coinery, I think that wrapped Bitcoin has a much, much cooler idea. And especially with that other contract that launched that seems like it's acting like the pDAI to Atropa. What is it? MM to wrap Bitcoin, essentially.
Yeah, it's Monet Money. I think it was this one. Yes. Yeah, so there's this one, it's Monet Money, and then there's another one where it's like 4 lines across. I can't type it in, but that one was actually the first one that someone threw across my screen when I was looking at it. And so what I think honestly is happening is this wrapped Bitcoin natives come into play. There might be discussion of possible parity, and this might be a huge marketing event to put all eyes on Pulsechain, saying like, hey, we have the better wrap BTC than what you guys have on Ethereum. So I think it's a cool narrative. Will this come to fruition? In speculation, maybe, but we'll just have to see.
Well, you don't have a tremendous amount of supply that's floating out there with random people. That's what's interesting about all of this. It's like one guy owns a lot of supply, and if that guy is benevolent, is a parity situation possible there? Well, yeah, because he owns so much supply and he can choose not to sell. He can choose not to knock the price down. So again, I think that this is probably the strongest, the thing that makes me feel most comfortable out of everything, because there's more evidence out there for it.
Absolutely. And the other thing I will say is this Monet Money. I haven't researched this, but this is something I want to get into. Some people are saying that there might be a possible connection to PayPal and a payment processor.
Yeah.
Please take that with a grain of salt. I'm not really sure. I got tagged in like 50 posts before we came on live stream about this, but I'm not really sure what's going on with this. And maybe there's another narrative, but I honestly think this time next week, it's going to be a different story with more information, and the murder mystery continues to go on for not only pDAI, but wrap Bitcoin. So, cool, man. Now, before we get to the end of this live stream, I want to talk a little bit about Text and Token, because I promised I'd talk about it.
Yeah.
Since last time we spoke, you're one of the first guys to come on and talk about Text and Token on. Well, actually, no, we actually covered it first on on the verse, and then you went on, did a whole marketing campaign talking about Texan Token presented to the community.
Mm-hmm.
For those guys who don't know, Texan Token, it's a blockchain certificate deposit. It's one of the first DAO and endowment tokens. Well, actually, do you want to give an explanation? I'm sorry, this is your project, so
No,
sorry.
it's cool. Yeah, so it's the world's first endowment token, and we mimic traditional endowments. We have up to a 22-year lockup from one. You can lock up from a day to 22 years. There's a 5% base interest rate that's paid out from the smart contract, not from anybody else. There's immutable, no admin keys, all that. So it's 5% base interest rate. And then every year that you hold, so longer does pay better with this. Bigger doesn't matter. So longer pays better. And every year that you hold extra, you get a small multiplier. So when you put this on a curve, it simulates compounding interest over 22 years. If you were to hold the entire time, it's a total averaged out 87% per year. And one of the big features and cool things about this that I don't think anything else really on Pulsechain has, if it does, I'm not familiar with it. You can actually scrape your interest. So it's pretty cool. You know, first year you get 5%, second year you get 6% if you were holding or staking. Third year you get more. You add all those up. Maybe by the fourth or fifth year you're sitting at 40%. You can actually scrape that, not touch your principal, no penalty, and be able to use that and do whatever you want with it. Maybe you go make hex stakes. Maybe you buy some meme coin. Maybe, you know, whatever you want to do. So I think that flexibility offsets, you know, how long that some people, when you hear 22 years, everybody freaks out. Why did you guys do that, Rags? Well, it's because the people who we're talking to, the organizations that we're talking to, they're used to those longer time frames, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, indefinitely, you know? So we wanted to do like, okay, 5%, people are used to hearing 5%. That doesn't sound crazy, 5% per year. And then those time frames, they're used to that too. So that's really Texan in a nutshell. It's a cool yield producing instrument. And there's a cool community behind it as well. We've got a bunch of no coiners that are involved in this. I think on the Ethereum side, we've got 5,500 stakers, which is pretty good. I think an average when I last checked was about 6.5 years staked out. So it's good stuff.
Yeah, man. Awesome explanation. I should have just asked you done it before, man. You had that down to a science. I love that. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about, you know, future roadmap behind the Texan token. So believe it or not, funny story between me and Rags. Adam came out and said, hey, Texan token has big plans for this, and that. And then I saw you post something about a referral address to the 9-inch sacrifice. And for some reason in my mind, I connected the two. I was like, no way. 9 inches of DEX for Texan. I talked about it in a video. You hit me up politely and say, hey, man, this isn't correct. So I really do appreciate you handling stuff offline. But outside of the funny story, what kind of stuff do you expect in the roadmap for the Texan token?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting right now. You know, right now we're in the bear market. Right now, a lot of stuff is dead. You know, I'm a believer in the free market. I'm a believer in people seeing something and then wanting to use it because it actually is doing what it's promised. And I don't want to manipulate things. And so the cool thing about what we have going on, we have something called Freedom Swap that's currently being built right now in production. This is going to be a full-fledged Uniswap v3 fork on Pulsechain with upgrades and with incentives. So I think that's going to be really freaking cool. You know, people are going to have single-sided staking. People are going to be able to provide liquidity on one side or the other side. All sorts of cool stuff that's going to be happening. It thickens out the infrastructure for Pulsechain, which is also cool as well. And we're going to announce with that, it works in tandem, a token called Xenify. And that's going to benefit the holders of Ophir and Texan. So that's really cool too. So we're looking at this DEX as one of many ways that we have in our quote unquote roadmap to be able to connect these communities together that we are starting and we are seeding all over the world. Ophir launched, it's from the Philippines. We've got Texan with that organization. The Philippines organization's about 100 churches with a network of about 3,000 churches, 100 primary. It's an organization called Xenify out there. And those guys are working hard every single day in the Philippines. So We're going to bring it all together. And we just want to do what we said we were going to do from the start, which is we want to connect people who actually believe in freedom, who believe in sovereignty, and then are like-minded, and they pool together their ideas and their resources, and they focus it on common goals. And we're going to create our own little world inside Pulsechain. We're going to stake our claim on the land, and we're going to continue to build. We're not going to stop for years and years and years to come. So for us, this is a long play. For us, this isn't like, we're not going to, pump and dump any one of these things. It's just going to be, we want adults involved with this. We want mature people involved with this. We're not a meme coin. That's not what this is all about. So steady growth, good opportunity for folks here as well.
Awesome. Really great. That's awesome to see your roadmap and utility build out. And the other thing I want to ask you, in your opinion, do you think the PRC20 token Texan will reach parity with the ERC20 token?
Well, it did reach parity. It was the first one to reach parity at the beginning.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, a lot of market forces, screwed that up. But I think for a period of about 2 weeks, it was locked in. So we know it's possible. The unfortunate thing was somebody got hacked. One of the big wallets got hacked and drained on the Ethereum side. So that knocked us down. There's like a 50% or 40% gap right now between the two. So is it possible? It's absolutely possible. Now, here's the other cool thing, man. You talked about interoperability, and I've made this point quite a bit. Once all of these chains really get themselves figured out, interoperability becomes a thing. Liquidity can pass between chains easier. You're going to see parity with these tokens. It might not be in a year or two. It might be in 4 or 5 years. But you're going to see that a token on, Polkadot is going to have the same value as a token on Ethereum, because the liquidity is connected together and they can arbitrage that gap out. Or there might be other really, really cool technologies that come about that are able to balance that liquidity better. So I think that goes for Texan, that goes for Hex, that goes for any of these copies, the Hedron that came over or whoever. So it's exciting.
Oh man, I agree with you, and I love how you bring up the interoperability point, because I'm seeing what's going on with Sushi. They're creating like a really cool interoperability DEX, especially for EVM compatible blockchains.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, I think they might launch on Pulsechain. I don't have any inside information, just from what I'm seeing and what's being built out. They also include the layer 0 component. And based on what you were saying, I think Sushi Swap could potentially be that gateway for parity between PRC20 tokens and ERC20 tokens. So just a prediction. And it's speculation, just like a lot of stuff we talked about today. So, but yeah, man. Well, that's it. That's all I got for live stream. We're sitting at about an hour, so don't want to keep this too long. Do you got anything else, man?
No, one thing that I forgot to add was I said it's going to be very interesting to see when Pulsechain and PulseX actually start pumping, how it's going to affect the Atropa ecosystem. And I think that there's a lot of speculators, and I think that they'll probably jump out and try to jump on the pumps, especially in the bear market with Pulsechain and PulseX. But I'm interested to see if there's any type of mechanism that's built in to help counteract that bad price action when and if it happens. And we got a little taste of it when Pulsechain was pumping yesterday. You saw a lot of downturn in some of these tokens. So we'll see. This is all part of observing to see what happens here.
Yeah. And also to add on that, we have a really good Twitter profile. His name's Khaos. He really follows the price trends and the buy and the sell volume on pDAI and also Pulsechain.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing he really points out is the down token absorbs a lot of that, I believe it was sell pressure.
Mm-hmm.
When we start to see pDAI have a huge sell off, we see massive red candles, but the price of the down token stabilizes. That's part of the reason why so many people think this might be some sort of AI-based technology. Like I said, speculation, but something like this we've never seen before. But I do agree with you. It's going to be really interesting to see how this all plays out, especially in the upcoming bull market, which is right around the corner. So
yeah, and I appreciate you talking about it. I want people to talk about this, and I want them to be honest. If you disagree with something, just disagree. You don't have to attack people. let's just have a conversation about it, see how it plays out. So I appreciate that you're doing that. Not many people are.
Yeah, no, and honestly, I think we don't need any more echo chambers. You know, the maxis drove me crazy in this bear market, and I think when we start talking more and there's more channels of communication, I think we'll have better blockchain, better community, closer to adoption. Everybody wins. That's how I see it. So
I see that.
awesome. Well, yeah, like I said, guys, when you guys get a chance, please go check out Rax Riches. His Twitter, his socials are all down in the description. Also, please check out the Texan token. It's a really great altcoin project. I love talking about altcoins, and this project has potential to do really well in the next bear market. And before I wrap this live stream up, you know, please consider subscribing. And like I said, you know, Rags, it was awesome having you on this live stream. Hopefully we can do a follow-up one in the future, man. So
absolutely, dude. Whenever. I'm available anytime.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'll see you guys in the next one.
Thanks, guys.